What's going on, guys? Wanted to do a little recap. I know Nate did that in written format, but I wanted to do a little recap of TPE. First, let me tell you a little bit about what TPE is. So we have two trade shows in this industry that are manufacturer to retailer. The first one, and really the most important trade show of the year, is PCA. That's the Premium Cigar Trade Show. That's a cigar where just about all the manufacturers are there. They do a great job of big displays showing off all their offerings. Generally, they have their entire sales team there, and most of the retailers around the country will attend that event. But now there's kind of a second trade show, and it's not a new trade show by any means, but it's a new trade show really for premium cigars and retailers to attend. It's TPE. That's just a tobacco expo, and what that is, kind of give you an idea. Here in Dallas, we have just about in every major city, we have large lounges that have big walk-in humidors. Generally, those are going to be, uh, you know, owner-run stores, not corporate stores or chains, and and normally they have a large selection of premium cigars, and that's really all they offer is premium cigars. In other parts of the country, you see a lot of chains, and they may have 10, 15 locations. They may have a walk-in humidor. They may have a small lounge. But generally, those stores also sell vape products, glass pipes, grinders for cannabis, maybe lottery tickets. They may have, other knickknacks at the register. And really, that's what TPE is designed for distributors that sell across C stores and stores like I just mentioned. Um, but what has happened is premium cigars sell into those stores as well. So the cigar manufacturers have started going to TPE. Well, about 6, 7 years ago, somebody suggested maybe I go check it out, and I did. I really enjoyed it. About 80% of the trade show floor did not apply to us, but it did give me a second opportunity in the year to go meet with our manufacturing partners. Um, since TPE has done a really good job of kind of promoting the fact that the manufacturers are there and trying to bring in retailers. And now I'd say we take up about 20% of the attendance probably. So there's a lot of retailers there now, and more manufacturers are going every year. So before it was just kind of the bigger manufacturers that dealt with the distributors and the people that have multiple locations like that. Not everybody was there, but now I would say probably 75% of the manufacturers are there, and I'm seeing more and more of the retailers show up every year. So I kind of liked it when I was the only guy there. It just gave me a little more face time with all the manufacturers. Um, but I do think it's great for the industry that it's growing. It gives retailers and manufacturers again a second opportunity to build a relationship. A couple things I noticed this year I found interesting. Very few new releases. Um, in the past, people, like I said, there wasn't a lot of retailers there, so manufacturers really didn't do any new releases around TPE. But as retailers started showing up, it gave manufacturers kind of a reason to introduce a new cigar. This year, there was almost no new cigars introduced. I think the reason for that is manufacturers have had a really hard time keeping up in the last couple of years. A couple things that I heard over and over is inflation in Honduras, Dominican Republic, and Nicaragua is a real thing as it is in this country, but it may be impacting those countries even more. The cost of fertilizer is going up, the cost of tobacco is going up, and the cost of labor is going up. And we're not talking, single digit numbers here. In some cases, 50% to 300%. So it's pretty impactful. That was one thing I heard. The other thing I heard is they're all fighting for rollers. Um, Demand has increased in the last couple of years. When demand increases, they need more tobacco, they need more rollers. Well, you don't just grow tobacco today to use in a cigar that you need to make tomorrow. Same thing with rollers. You're not able to go hire a waiter or a waitress and then hire them as a roller and increase production. It takes many, many years for a roller to learn that trade. And so, they're kind of fighting one another, trying to take the best rollers available. And some manufacturers have started rolling schools and started hiring people without experience, but they're going to have to invest in those people for several years before they get to reap the benefits of that. But That's probably a reason why there wasn't a lot of new releases this year, is because they're really just trying to keep up with demand. I did see Agrinorsa had a new release, the rare leaf Maduro. There's no ETA on that, but sometime in 2023 they're going to be releasing that. Um, Asylum and CLE kind of had new releases. They have a partnership with Deadwood where they have an infused cigar that now is going to become a national release. There's been a lot of buzz around that, chasing the dragon line. And so that is going to be available this year in retail stores around the country. We support them, so I'm sure that we'll bring some of those in for my infused customers. And then I saw some other brands that we don't really do a lot of business with new releases, but really, again, not a lot of new stuff this year, which was kind of a little different than in the past. Other big news: Alec Bradley sold. They reportedly $72 million acquisition by one of the big conglomerates. That's good for a family-run business, I assume. That's a big number. Um, Not going to get into all the details of it, but that may be one of the most lucrative sells in our industry. Not the biggest number by any means, but maybe one of the most lucrative. The reason why I say that is, for example, Drew Estate sold several years ago to Swisher. And when Drew Estate sold, I think the number was slightly larger, but Drew Estate had several partners. They were pretty vocal about having a lot of inventory, a lot of debt on that inventory, tobacco that they own, buildings that they own, that type of thing. With Alec Bradley, they did manufacture their own cigars, at least for the most part. So they probably didn't have a lot of those expenses and bank debt to pay off. They certainly didn't have as many partners. So for the Rubin family, I'm excited. That's a big deal. What other big news? As we were leaving, Placencia had a fire. And, I understand that that's going to be a setback for them. But fortunately, my understanding is Placencia is a really big operation, not just the cigar brand side that a lot of the customers know, but they also grow a significant amount of the tobacco that's used in cigars in Honduras and Nicaragua. But additionally, they make a lot of cigars for other people. So having one fire in one facility, they said that it was something that was going to be a really small setback for them, but nothing major. They had plenty of other facilities, plenty of other tobacco, plenty of opportunity to keep moving forward. Speaking of fires, a lot of you guys remember Henderson and the Adventura team had a fire last year in September. It was good to see them at TPE. TPE uh, is a place where they normally share a booth with somebody, but this year they had their own booth, so that was really exciting. And my understanding is they've been making cigars since September. Most of those cigars are getting ready to ship now. Um, they're running about half production at the moment, but they're still going to have cigars available. The large factory is supposed to be their new factory is supposed to be finished by the end of the year, so we're excited about that. What other cool things did I see there? One thing that I thought was interesting, and Charlie with Half Wheel covered it. It was funny because Nate and I were talking about it before I saw it, but on the uh, on the other side of the trade show floor, you always see CBD and the Delta 8, and the grinders and the glass pipes and all of that funky stuff. But one thing I saw a lot was these kind of synthetic mushrooms. Been a lot of talk about mushrooms, I think microdosing, that type of thing. So there's a lot of this, I don't know if it's synthetic, but legal mushrooms that was all over the place. Um, um, what else was interesting? I think probably my favorite booth on the premium cigar side was Altitas. Altitas is launching a new cigar, and they had a celebrity or not bartender. They did have a beer tent there. They were giving out beers that paired with their cigars, but they had a celebrity barber, and I thought that was kind of cool. You could stop by, get a haircut. I needed one, but didn't take the time to get a haircut. Um, but I thought that was kind of cool. They had a celebrity barber there doing that. Thought that was a cool booth. Um, and other than that, I think TPE is growing. All the manufacturers I talked to said much lower point of entry for them to attend TPE than it is PCA. If somebody may spend $50,000 to go to TPE, they may spend 500,000 or more to go to PCA. So they feel like they get a lot of bang for their buck there. Overall, it was a fun trade show. We bought a lot of cigars. I think that's one thing Nate and I will cover. But we bought a lot of cigars. We don't want any back order issues to hold us back this year. So we're heavily investing in cigars. So come check out what we've got. We look forward to showing you around the humidor.